Kevin here, and I'm out walking again, and I'm on Midhurst Causeway again, and I'm heading towards Cowdray Ruins again. We've had a little bit more snow overnight, not much, enough to cover the causeway, and you can see away in the distance the fields have got a dusting of snow over it. There is a little bit of snow in the air. The clouds are fairly broken, he says, looking around for the breaks in the clouds, but there isn't many. I'm looking up towards St Anne's Hill, and you can see that there's snow in amongst the trees, but that's about it really. They are suggesting that we're going to get heavy falls of snow today for Midhurst area. We'll see. I don't think there will be, but I have been proven wrong many times. So let's press on and see what we can find. Well, I'm heading slightly differently today, and it is only slightly. I've come up past, or I'm just about to pass, the practice cricket nets at Cowdray Park, which are just there, and the ruins is just down there. So where I would quite often come out here on my way back, I'm going, oh crikey, that's a bit slippery underfoot. I'm actually going around this way, and I'm going into the bit where I would quite often come out. But you can see the snow on the ground. As I say, very light dusting of snow. As I walk round this way, the ruins is over that way, and there is a little bit of snow on the roof of the old water tower as I crunch my way through some puddles that are frozen over. And I find that is the most difficult bits, because you don't know if they're going to be frozen or not, and that's when you slip. There's a chap just gone walking past, or running past, and his little pup is stopped at the side of the track and watching me. There he is. Lovely little fella. There he goes up through the field, look, after the man running up there. So I'm heading now towards the main polo stands at Cowdray Ruins polo fields. There's not that many people out today. Perhaps they're being sensible, because it is quite cold. It's a bit nippy. The wind's keen, coming in from the east again, and it's making me sniff again, and I do apologise about that. But as soon as you get from any shelter and that wind comes to you, it is very, very cold. I know my friend Gabriel down in Glastonbury is not able to get out to do his walks that he wants to do and do any filming, because he did get pulled over by the police on one occasion, and from what I understand, he only had his very small DJI Pocket 2 video camera or vlogging camera, and they told him it wasn't part of his allowed walk to be doing any filming or photography. So he obeyed their request and put the camera away. So, which I think is very too over the top. At the end of the day, if you're still doing your walk, but taking the advantage of using your camera with you, or taking it with you, I can't see a problem with it. But anyway, this is the main polo stands. Commentary box up the top. The seats are covered in a dusting of snow. When I get down the bottom there, I'm going to do a little bit of a loop around another polo field just to extend my walk. Well, as I walk round the river grounds again, to my right hand side is the cottages that used to be the Cowdray estate workers. They still may well be that way, but they've got a lovely dusting of snow on the roofs, and you can see a little bit of snow on the tiled roofs of the ruins. But these walks are always the same for me at the moment, and one reason for that, oh, itchy nose. One reason for that is, although I'm walking around this field which is wet, well, in parts, the other bit of Midhurst I like to walk is Midhurst Common, but because so many people go out there, including guys on their mountain bikes, I've even seen a lady in a rather large wheelchair with quite a wide span on the back wheels, and with the amount of walkers that go out there, and people with their dogs of course, it's just churned the paths up terribly. So you walk out there and you just get absolutely covered in mud. Well, I do on this walk a little bit, but at the end of the day I'd rather walk where it's reasonably good than have to keep trudging through mud. But today, because of the snow, I'm doing my usual walk around these polo fields and through Esbourne, but when I drop back down to North Mill, I do intend to take in part of the Rother walk, which will lead me up to Wallbeeding, and then onto Midhurst Common, and then drop down from the viewing point, which I'm hoping won't be many people up there, and then perhaps I might be able to get some nice photographs across to the South Downs and just a nice little view across the valley. But to my right hand side is the River Rother. I can hear birds chirping away in the trees up on St Anne's Hill, which is just up on top of this hill here. And back in the day when there was a structure or a building up there, you can imagine that with none of these trees that you see here would have been there. So the valleys, or the views across the valley across to that way, as you can imagine, would have been completely clear. None of the buildings around the walled gardens would have been there, and nor would Cowdray Ruins have been there, because St Anne's Hill structure that was up there, built by the Bowen family, I think it was. Cowdray House wasn't built when that was up there. Well, I've been wandering down this track and the birds have been very active. I've got blue tits in front of me, robins, blackbirds, and I've seen a squirrel, which is fantastic. Love to see birds, especially a robin. I've got 1 or 2 photographs of robins, which I'm really pleased about. So I'm walking down very carefully, just in case I see any more birds floating about. They're all around me, but a little bit quieter at the moment. Got one tweeting away up in a tree up here somewhere. There's a blackbird down there hopping across the path. And a robin there as well. Well, I've come across North Mill Bridge, which is just over there, and we've got North Mill Pool here. So this is where I start the next part of my walk, which is the Rother Walk, which leads away from the mill, North Mill, up this direction. So clearly we've got to be careful of our, whoops, now you walked into a branch sticking out there, and watch our heads. Even at 5'9" I have to bend down. So you can see that the river can come in from different directions here. But here we go, first lot of mud where everybody's been walking. Just look at this. This is what I was on about, the amount of people out walking on these sorts of routes. It just gets churned up so badly. But I wanted to extend my walk this way today because of the dustier snow, to see what it looks like. So I'm afraid I'm just going to have to put up with it for this part of the walk, and I'll press on up this path with the Rother to my right hand side. Well, I haven't come far and there's a fork in the path here. One to my right, one to the left. The one to the left goes to the side of Midhurst Academy, but I'm going down this way. And here's the sign that says the Rother Walk. So I'm going to be heading up that direction. And I can hear a woodpecker somewhere. Well, I'm still wandering along the Rother walk. I've only seen 2 people so far, which is lovely. And the Rother is still to my right hand side. Gosh, it looks as if there's a huge tree come down just there, and some fencing in amongst it. But it's created a big dam there. And all the time we get more and more storms and more stuff floating down the river, that's going to create a big dam which will eventually flood all this area here, which it does anyway. I think when the rivers burst their banks along here. I've left most of the mud behind at the moment, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot more, and I think there's some just coming up around the corner here. But there's a few odd flakes of snow, very fine stuff at the moment. There's me talking about mud. There we go. You can see all the footprints all through this lot, where so many people walk this route, which is why I normally, especially this year, avoid these bits. So this is the first time I've walked along here this year. Now what have I spotted up in the trees up there? It could be a sparrowhawk. I need to try and get a it's just flown off. He obviously spotted me. That's a shame. Beautiful birds, sparrowhawks. Obviously a bird of prey. But as soon as they see something they're not used to, they're gone. And they've got such keen eyesight. If you can imagine the height that they fly at, and they can spot a little mouse running around in the grass, and that's why usually the mice don't stand a chance. Mice or field mice, whatever. Or, gosh, this is even worse here. I've got to be ever so careful. I'm just coming up to the boardwalk that goes along the river walk. Thankfully, when they put this lot in, here we go, look at this, I can't avoid it, got to go through it. Gosh, this is awful, and very slippery. There we go, still on the rubber walk. Oh God, my boots just sunk right in the mud. When they put this boardwalk in, they put a wire mesh over it so you didn't slip, but with it all packed with snow, of course that can quite easily still happen, so I will still be careful.